Happy Monday. Well, actually, it's Wednesday for me, but I'm recording this for a Monday. So, hey, happy Monday. And welcome to episode 2 of Poetry Speaks. In today's episode, I will be talking about or discussing my poem that I wrote when I was 19, almost 20 years old, in 2004. It's called How Long is Too Long. And this poem was pretty much about expressing my that time. Because at that age, I was going through a lot. Like, I started my first job I started my first job when I was 18 as a janitor, and I was getting paid under the table. It was at my dad's office building where he worked, and I would clean the office building at night, and my best friend would help me. Um, but anyway, this was technically, I guess, my second job, and I was working at a hospital, St. Vincent's, in housekeeping. And during that time, I was very depressed, and it wasn't just because of the job itself; it's because I was lonely. um, I was lonely, and I just I never had a boyfriend before. I never had anybody in my life, like love wise, And for some reason at that point in my life, I just felt lonely. I felt like I'm 19 years old, almost 20. I'm single. I've been single for as long as I had been a teenager. Because when you become a teenager, a lot of times, specifically at 16, at least back when I was younger, most times when you're 16, at any decade, any age, whatever, um, that's when you really become you blossom into yourself, and you get a boyfriend. And I never had a boyfriend. I've had guys in school. Well, I don't know about guys, but one guy in particular liked me when I was in school, when I was a senior. So when I was like 17 years old, this freshman, or was he a sophomore? He's either a freshman or a sophomore. Either way, he liked me, but I had no interest in him, first of all, because he was just, yeah, one of those guys. But anyway, so that kind of just, dissipated after a while. But beyond that point, I never had a boyfriend. I never had anybody else at least admit to me that they liked me. But that's okay. And but anyway, at age 19, like I said, I was working at St. Vincent's, and I want to say "How Long Is Too Long" is one of my first poems, because it is the third entry in my poetry journal that I bought. And I was going through this depression, as I mentioned before. And so anyway, I had come to a point in my life where I believed that I had no place on this earth, that I was destined to be alone. And this may seem silly, but it most definitely it isn't uncommon, you know, to think that you're lonely at that age. But the silly part of it is that I became envious of the female characters I saw in romantic dramas. Now, that's another reason why I say it's not uncommon, because some of us ladies out there have a habit of thinking that the world is like a romantic comedy, and this guy is going to come along and sweep you off your feet. You're going to have so much fun together, and there's going to be that dramatic ending, or not ending, but that dramatic breakup, and then you guys get back together again. It's going to be so happy, yay. And that's what I was like at that age. And to be honest, sometimes I'm still like that, but I know enough now to know that it's, in most cases, it's not true. At least not in my life, it's not true. Um, so I've learned to be still and just wait. You know, I've cried many a night in the past, wondering when and um, due to some boneheaded decisions I've made, I always chose the wrong guy and would end up hurt, you know? And again, it still rings true today, but I still wait, you know? Patience is key to anything. Through experience, you know, I've learned to never rush love and just let it find me. Uh, when it's meant to happen, you know, it will. Love's complicated, you know. I try not to force it, um, because I'm one of those people, like, I fall in love quickly. I have a problem with that. Like, I seriously do. I have a problem with, like, falling in love too quickly, and I wind up getting hurt. But I went, because I'm so self-aware of how I am, I try not to make it so apparent or so obvious that I'm in love with this person unless I tell them. But I really try not to make it so obvious because I don't want to push them away, but in the end I wind up doing it anyway, and that just really sucks. So I'm learning now at the age of 36 to not force anything. Not that I ever force it, but the problem is that it appears that way if I come off as being so in love. It's like I'm trying to force them to love me back. That's not my intention, you know? So I'm just waiting for the right one to come and, you know, really sweep me off my feet, you know? You know, God knows what he's doing. You know, I'll just leave it to him. I'll leave it in his hands. It's all up to him. So, yeah, here I am waiting, and I will continue to wait and keep pushing forward and keep working on my poetry and getting my books out there and noticed and everything else, and keep writing and writing and writing until I finally get to that point where I can't write anymore. This is How Long Is Too Long. Each night I wait for love. Each day I wait for peace. I've waited a while for silence to cease. How long is too long? Where does it end for us to begin? Passion, prejudice, does this exist? For I've come a long way to see how long is too long. Years pass slow for harmony to grow. We shall never know how long is too long. And that is the end of this episode. I thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for 3 more episodes. Every Monday, I will be producing a new episode discussing one of my poems I wrote over 10 years ago, over 15 years ago, I should say. So please stay tuned for the other segments. Thank you so much again for listening and for giving me unconditional encouragement and positivity, and your words are so, I absorb everything everyone tells me, and I greatly appreciate how kind everyone has been about my poetry that I share on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And you guys are great. So I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And then if any of you are unlucky in love like me, be patient. You know, love will come when it's destined to come. You never know who is out there waiting for you. There may be somebody out there is praying for you, and you're praying for them, and the universe will bring you two together one of these days. You know, you never know. And that's how I personally feel. I feel like I know who I'm destined to be with. That's the God's honest truth. I know who I'm destined to be with. I know for a fact at this very moment who I'm destined to be with. And they know that they're destined to be with me. You know? We may not have ever met each other. We may have seen each other, but we may not have ever met each other personally, but we know that we are destined to be. And that's how I see it. Like the stars align, the planets align, everything will bring us together. God will bring us together, and that's it. So I just wait for the day that we meet, and you know, the rest will be history. So, with that being said, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. I'm looking to build up my channel as much as possible. That's why I keep changing how I'm approaching this channel. Like I was really just testing the waters for a bit to see what gets people interested, and I feel like this is something that gets people interested. So let's see how well this goes. And if these segments do anything for you, I'll continue them uh, with other things I've written. Like maybe my next segments or will be about my short stories that I wrote 10 years ago and kind of explain those and everything. But anyway, again, I'm rambling. I'm so sorry, but again, thank you so much for listening. I greatly appreciate you. Tune in next week. Bye bye.